Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Paris McKenzie, Biomanufacturing Track Lead. Oh, perfect. We have some people joining. Good morning. Hi. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi. Welcome. I'm Paris McKenzie, Biomanufacturing Track Lead of Career Catalyst. As most of you know, this Career Catalyst series is part of the BioBuzz Talent Lab, a platform designed to help life science professionals like you access exclusive job opportunities, career development resources, expert advice, and industry events. This 45-minute program is broken into two parts: presentation and Q&A. Please note that we'll be recording the presentation here shortly, but we'll stop the recording for the Q&A portion, where you'll be able to chat your questions or raise your hand to ask your burning questions. Before we begin, I appreciate everyone taking a moment to mute themselves. And without further ado, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Paris McKenzie, Biomanufacturing Track Lead of Career Catalyst, and I'm thrilled to be here today with our amazing guest, Aalliyeh Clinton. Today, we are joined by Aalliyeh Clinton, a materials science engineer and entrepreneur building at the intersection of chemistry, manufacturing, entrepreneurship, and ownership. She is the founder and CEO of Monneah's Engineered Materials, where she develops sustainable, high-performance PPE for STEM professionals. With a foundation in chemistry from Morgan State University and advanced training in materials science and engineering, Aalliyeh has translated bench-level research to patent-pending material, securing and raising over $70,000 in non-dilutive funding and partnering with life science companies to commercialize her work. Beyond building products, she's building pathways through her initiative, Cool Nerds on the Rise, and she's introduced hundreds and hundreds of students to hands-on STEM education and career exposure. Aalliyeh represents what it looks like to move from discovery to scale and to turn scientific training into real ownership and impact. And I'm so happy to have her here as a guest, because this is a full circle moment for us, as we did meet on a Career Catalyst session as well. So I'm so happy to have you here today, Aalliyeh. And before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors for today's session, Workforce Genetics and BioTrack. Workforce Genetics has been helping connect talent with high-performing teams over 20 years, now powered by AI, making it faster and easier for growth-oriented, venture-backed life science companies to build great teams without the hassle or cost of traditional recruiting firms. And as always, a big thank you to BioTrack for sponsoring today's session. Their hands-on workshops have trained over 17,000 scientists, and you can learn more at biotrack.com. I also want to mention that this event is a part of the BioBuzz Talent Lab, your one-stop shop for career growth, job opportunities, and industry connections. Join our Talent Lab today for more opportunities like this. Now let's get started, and I'll hand it over to our guest, Aalliyeh.
Thank you, Paris, for that awesome introduction. And thank you for being our host for this afternoon. And thank you, BioBuzz, and the amazing team. We have Dina here, guys. You guys are so awesome, and I'm honored to be here to share my story and support you on your journey. This is a full circle moment for me. This will be the second time that I'm supporting BioBuzz Career Catalyst, and BioBuzz has been supporting my business, and I for about 2 years now. So really, really grateful to be in this community. So let's get into my story. And as Paris already shared, I am the owner of Monet's Engineered Materials. We are a personal protective equipment company where chemistry meets couture. So we are creating sustainable protective equipment for scientists, with our first products being chemical resistant lab coats. So as a chemist, of course, I have dealt with, lab coats that are traditional, and lab coats are not traditionally, what would I say? Lab coats are not traditionally used for all environments. So this specific lab coat is made out of cotton and is not as protective as you would think for us scientists. That so again, chemical resistant lab coats. We don't currently have that product as scientists, aka chemists. So I've decided to use what I know about science to reinvent my product. Right. So again, this is me in 2022. I mean, excuse me, 2020, in the lab, mostly by myself during that time, doing some research at my alma mater, which is Morgan State University. And I have been graced and blessed enough to be connected within this atmosphere so I can get the experience from hands on, right? So thankfully, I've never been burned as a scientist, but I have did the research and found that over 250,000 scientists have experienced chemical burns from material failure, right? So that is within the US. So again, I started my company in 2022 when I recognized that I'm about to leave school. I have to figure out what it is that I'm about to do in my life. And throughout my experiences in corporate America, I've recognized that I wanted to create a wholesome space where I can be who I am and be around others that may not look like me and come from where I come from, but we can have a mutual work environment that brings joy and positivity and scientific things. So that is me actually working with Picasso firm to put my own product together, right? So I really don't know too much about sewing, but I recognize that it can't be too hard. So I tried it out, and now we have this beautiful prototype where you can see that I've been marketing this thing for 2 years, right? So this is me at this is a STEM event. It's called STEM Social. So if you guys haven't heard about STEM Social, they're like a third global STEM networking platform where people from all over the world they come together and they connect in various cities. So they have Philly, DC, international, you name it. So throughout the process, I've learned that, okay, well, now I made the product, right? And I did some of the leg work, but now I have to get my product out there. So not only are we focused on, sustainable and protective, personal protective equipment, but we also defend the fact that as a scientist, we should be who we are when we're in the laboratory, right? And we deserve to be as expressive as the work that we have been doing. So I decided to blend chemistry with couture. That is our tagline. So we have standard white lab coats as well, but if you want just a small design, we do have that flexibility for those who want to be creative and for also those who just want a regular white, black, or pink lab coat. So we have created that level of openness for our scientists. So this is some of the background of how I've been able to use my career in science to support me in understanding my product and building my product in various ways. So, manufacturing knowledge equals career power. So, this was just me actually last week in North Carolina attending the Carolina Textile District workshop. So, this is a 2-day workshop that provides a roadmap for your product development. So, they give you direct connections from manufacturing support from sourcing your fabric to tagging your product, right? We all have these tags on our shirts. Some of them may be heat pressed on, or some of them may be an actual tag. And this is some of the verbiage that I actually just learned from this manufacturing workshop. And within this workshop, it's very important for you to, as a CEO, you don't have to know it all, right? Of course, but it's important for you to get an understanding of what it is that you have to do and the support that you do need so you can delegate, right? So you can't really ask for help or, or guidance if you don't really have the direction, right? And this is what Carolina Textile District does. They take you to a various solution manufacturing centers where they take you through the process. And here you can see with the flatbed knitting machine, they tell you the different types of materials, right? So how they're made. You have knit, you have woven, you have non-woven, right? All these different categories of fabrics and how they're made that I personally didn't know. I knew some of them, but I really didn't know. And then as for a lab coat, that is woven product, right? So within the woven products, you have certain manufacturers that actually create those products as compared to knit products. So this is the type of knowledge that you have to have in order to go through with the process, right? And then there's again different sources even for tag, and you have people who do the plastic tags, then you have PVC, then you have heat press. So all these different things in which I did not know. And again, they are different manufacturers for every step of the process. So putting myself out here, of course, this was a paid for opportunity. So with my business funds, I was able to invest back into my business, right, to grow the business. So um, took a bus down to North Carolina, this really quick, vulnerable session right here. As a CEO, things are not going to be smooth for you, and you really don't know why. You can't blame anybody or anything, but you have to persevere. So on my way to North Carolina, we took a we took a rest stop to use the bathroom. The bus left me, guys. I'm in Southfield, Virginia. No, nothing, just by myself. I got my phone. I called my mom. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm from East Baltimore, Maryland, born and raised. My mom has to come from Baltimore to Virginia to meet me. Thank God I have a network of people, that I've grown from putting myself out there. I know a friend in North Carolina, Greensboro. She drives from Greensboro to VA to get me, to take me back to Raleigh to get my belongings because I don't have my stuff. And then finally, we meet my mom in a connecting city, and I finally make it to Conover 2 hours later. So a whole bus trip that was supposed to be 6 hours turned into a 12-hour bus trip, but I made it and I showed up for myself. And I am at the brick of the turning point of my company. But that took a whole lot of resilience and prayer. I'm a woman of God. So I really, I was a bit scared, of course, right? But I knew that above all else, I'm going to make it to this workshop. I'm going to get those connections and I'm going to build my company regardless. So, how do you build a company while also being a scientist, while also being a CEO, while also being a financial advisor, while also being the one that's pitting your marketing team, all those things, right? So, you build yourself a schedule. So this is an example of the testing, the permeation test that I did at Early Term Ventures, which is in Baltimore, Maryland. They are a life science company that supports science-based companies to manufacturing and scalability. So as you all seen, my kind of pink reddish lab coat, that product was actually Tyvek. So my thought was that I could re-engineer Tyvek to produce the chemical resistant fabric that I was looking for. But after doing some testing, as you can see, that of course Tyvek is easily to be penetrated. And I believe this was like less than 30 seconds that it was penetrated, right? And I don't have all the direct units of how far it went through because that's in my lab book. But from this testing, I was able to recognize that this is not the fabric that I can re-engineer. But again, I didn't have anybody do my testing, right? I talked to Early Charm. They have people who are in material science engineer, right, with over 50 years of experience in the field. So they gave me an outline of what testing I need to do, how do I do it right, and an example of testing that has been done from my competitors, such as DuPont, Chemtech, those who are out here creating lab coats or PPE for scientists. So, again, using that technical experience from being in the laboratory, I have been grateful enough to use my chemistry degree and apply it to my company and my business, because you have to also pay people, right, to do your testing for you. So when I get to a certain point where my product is ready to be finished, I will then get the support from the third party testing so they can finalize it and they can have all that documentation needed. But since I have the knowledge, right, and I have the support from Early Charm, I was able to do my preliminary testing because I'm a chemist. So I'm really grateful for Early Charm. They have been in my corner since I've started this company, which will be 4 years in August, and they are truly, truly instrumental in my process. And okay, so how do you raise funds for your company, right? So, like I said, testing my product while also pitching, building my teams, and marketing. So you know your company better than anybody else, right? And they have accelerator programs, mentors, advisors to help you through it, right? Before I actually had a true mentor, I had a school mentor, which is a mentor, right? But it's not someone who preferably you can go see. They may live in a different state. They're virtual, so that it depends. But I had that level of support, and I've been able to get into programs using my network. Morgan has an entrepreneur development academic center, so I've been able to use those connections to pinpoint mentors that are in my field, right? It's very important for you to get advice from people who are doing what you're doing. It may not be directly, but it may be similar to what you're doing. So that is very, very important to me. So again, non-dilutive funding versus dilutive funding. So non-dilutive funding, you don't owe them anything back. They're just giving you the funding in hopes that you continue to grow your company. Versus dilutive, they're looking for some type of return and their investment that they have created for you.
Right.
So, this beautiful picture here, you can see this is me. Just recently in November, I received some funding from Black Ambition. If you guys know about Black Ambition, it was created by Pharrell Williams, now owned by Felicia Hatcher, and they are a awesome, awesome, awesome supportive cohort, right, for the minority community, and they support you with funding, and they support you with resources and learning labs. Like many accelerators, they give you the support and they do give you the mentors, right? But it's kind of up to you now to kind of figure it out after that. But no, Black Ambition supports you thoroughly. They walk you through your next steps. They make sure you have those connections that you asked them for. They literally have a month planned out with marketing direction, right? So how do you create those sales? Okay, who are you trying to reach out to? So they have constant support. This has been the best I don't a cohort or accelerator or community that I have been a part of that constantly still supports me. Now, Black Ambition is a safe investment. So if you guys want to look up safe, it's literally in the word is it's the very safest investment that you can receive, that will be dilutive based on the steps that your company takes. So again, I don't want to slander it. I've read over it. I did my paperwork, but that was a few months ago. So if you want to look up safe, you can look up that information so you can understand. But again, they gave me the proper support, We had the lawyers. We had all those things needed to make sure we were understanding what it is that we're getting ourselves into. And we had the option to, whether to accept the funding or not, right? And this is the funding that I've been able to use to go to that textile workshop, right? To support the actual sampling and product production, right? So as a textile engineer, before you create your product, you need a sample of the fabric to confirm and to test to make sure this is the final fabric that you will be using to develop your product, right? And that's just money, 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 because you have to test it. If you don't have the technical expertise like myself, then you have to go through the following chains to support your product being made. But again, being a scientist and being a business owner is the best position that you can be in. You have the technical experience, you know how to run an experiment, you even know how to create a hypothesis and do the steps all the way through to even determine, okay, how is this going to play out? So, with all that being said, it's a beautiful journey, and you just have to take it day by day, step by step. But you do have to do not multiple things, but you do have to do at least two things at once, right? So again, while I'm still looking for my source for my fabric, I am building my team. So how am I doing that? Morgan State University, they have interns. You reach out to your old professors, you ask them, is anybody looking for an internship, right? And we can support with either monetary funding or you can support with credit funding, because either way, you have to pay for school. So if I can support you with credits while working with my company, that is a win-win. They also have programs such as Maryland Technology Internship Program. It's called MTIP through University of Maryland, Baltimore. I don't believe it's Baltimore County, Baltimore. So please check that out. But again, you can use your family as well. My mom is my executive assistant. She's also a CEO. I'm her executive assistant. So we're just working hard over here, but we're making it work. And the last final piece that I would like to speak about is marketing, right? How do you do that? What do you even know? What is marketing? To me, marketing is having a conversation with people. You're always doing customer discovery, right? So figuring out would somebody buy this product, what is the pain points that they're currently having with their lab coats, right? I've interviewed my professors, my colleagues, students, and anytime I'm at an event, just like Baya, I'm not sure if you guys are from Baltimore, but Baya STEM conference, the 40th anniversary just passed last week, and I was happy to be in attendance and on the panel. And when I'm there, I'm meeting people, right? Chemists, material science engineers, forensic scientists, and I'm taking all the opportunity to have these conversations, which is also me marketing my product. Hey, what are your problems with your lab coach? How do you feel? Oh my God, is that so? Well, the funny thing is, Monet's engineered materials, we create personal protective equipment for scientists, with our first products being chemical resistant lab coats. Our re-engineering a textile, we're actually finding sustainable and eco-conscious products to create our fabric while also making sure we're putting the protection directly into the fiber and not just the surface coating, because most of our lab coats just have surface coating. What sets us apart is we make sure that we are comfortable while we're doing what we love, and we're fashionable. As a scientist, we are very creative. We deserve to have that level of flexibility when we're in the laboratory. So that mere conversation sound like I was pitching at this point, but I believe, in a sense, pitching is kind of in tune with when you're having conversations if you're just used to doing that, but I'm a great pitcher. You can see I won this funding from pitching, just talking about my company and what we're doing. And again, nobody knows your company better than you. So even if it may not sound right, just let them ask you questions, and so you can have that conversation. But don't just I don't know, not make it conversational, right? And then they may not be your target audience, but many people in the STEM space, they know people who may be, right? And now you have that connections, and now you're building your network, and you're building repertoire, and now you are marketing your product, right? Going to these vending opportunities, me being here speaking with you all, it's all a part of the marketing plan in a sense. So
Yes.
up questions, and thank you.